Just getting, hopefully it's a little bit cleaner now. Would be ideal if it was, but yeah, hopefully you haven't gone anywhere. You might have to hit the refresh button on the stream. That's what I've had to do, and then the stream is back, going to be back and all good. But we should be hopping into NCK's battles very shortly once we get all back to speed. I think he's in the wings. Should be getting ready to go.
Friend request has been sent. Gift has been opened. We're just waiting for the battle to get locked in, I believe. Giving them a last second because Dre did just come out of a previous match. So giving him a little bit time to look at both lines and then choose what he wants to do and lock it in. Pretty standard here. Nick's had a little more time to think about it. But all these players, the teams for everyone went live when the tournament started, so people have a chance to look at their opponent's teams and plan a little bit in between games and matches. Players not allowed, obviously they're locked in on these teams. It's the show 6, choose 3 format, and then no TMing as well. So they're not allowed to change the moves on any of their mons once the tournament has begun. So can't make any updates to their mons to try to get advantage over their current opponent. That would be against the rules. But we should have them pretty soon here. Take a look.
And that is one thing that Antimatter has made even better for this tournament as opposed to last, because they're taking feedback on board. Everything, feedback's appreciated through Discord, through messages, through surveys that might be sent around and whatnot. Because last time the teams were released earlier on, whereas this time they were released with the start of the tournament. So again, any feedback, they are looking to make the best tournaments they can make. So any experiences from both as a battler, as someone watching the stream, let us know kind of how things can be improved, because when there's things that are actionable changes with some, constructive feedback, it just makes things better for everyone. So any constructive feedback, everyone is always happy to hear that. So you can send that through. I mean, even send it through to me or Ninja. We'll both pass it on. Ninja or I is the grammatically correct way to put it. As
giving yourself constructive feedback. Excellent example.
We're improving as we speak. Oh dear. I think. Let's just see what NCK is doing at the moment. NCK. Yeah, right. Should be getting ready to go here. Just waiting for a battle invite to be sent across.
We'll see what these players lock in. I think on
NCK, if you were NCK, what are you bringing up against Dre?
I definitely think that the counter users are really good here. So I wouldn't expect Dre to bring that Bastiodon. I also don't expect NCK to bring, the Golbat feels kind of out of place in this particular matchup. The only thing it really has a good matchup with here is probably the Vigoroth, and even there, the Vigoroth keeps pace with the Golbat. Both of them get to their charge move after 10 turns, and the Vigoroth Body Slam more efficient than Golbat's Poison Fang. So even though the Golbat's doing neutral wing attacks, I imagine that's not really that Golbat favorite of a matchup. So the Golbat, I don't expect to see Dre. Dre only has kind of the one counter user, so it puts NCK's Bastiodon in a pretty good spot. Has a pretty good matchup against the Sableye. Obviously, it's a neutral matchup with the opposing Bastiodon. Has a pretty good matchup against the AWAC. Basti versus Umbreon is a bit of an IV-dependent matchup. If the Umbreon has very good PvP IVs, it can get to an extra foul play before dying to smackdowns and can flip that matchup. Or if you are an absolute wizard at this game, the Umbreon can win that matchup by denying 4 smackdowns and sneaking 2 snarls. That's the requirements there to win if you don't have the perfect IVs on your Umbreon. It feels really good when you can pull that off, but that's you don't expect to win that matchup. Is how that plays out. So the Bastion pretty good there as well. And then let's see, the Jellicent. It really depends on what moves that Jellicent's running. It's definitely a bad matchup with the Sableye. Jellicent really walls Vigoroth. It's kind of similar to a Jellicent versus Vigoroth versus Driftblim is a kind of a more common matchup you may have seen, where the Jellicent just like really walls it, but also like doesn't kill it very fast. You can usually create an advantage there with the Jellicent by kind of over farming before you throw kind of the final lethal Bubble Beam, if that's what you're running, or Ice Beam.
The final lethal Bubble Beam is a very strange sentence. It does so little of anything. If anyone finishes anything off with a Bubble Beam, it's a very interesting time.
Yeah, but I mean, if you're running Bubble Beam, you're almost certainly not running Bubble Beam and Ice Beam. So you're running Bubble Beam and Shadow Ball, and in that matchup, then Shadow Ball's double resistance. So Bubble Beam is your efficient move for dealing damage.
Oh man. That's rough. I mean, the reason that Bubble Beam is such a weak move is that because it has that debuff potential, but having to use it as your big damaging move is a scary prospect. But it does mean that Jellicent can come away with some nice energy as well, which is always very nice to see. One thing about Golbat is that it does have that Shadow Ball. So like maybe if he got himself into a situation where Golbat had like an energy advantage, then it could potentially do some big Wombo Jumbo damage.
Yeah,
especially with the chance of a Poison Fang debuff beforehand. It's not the
you can land that bait. You can land that bait to get the defense down and take a shield with a Poison Fang into a Shadow Ball. Golbat looks a lot better than it would otherwise. The Shadow Ball pretty good against the AWAC, can do pretty good damage to the Mawile, the Sableye as well. It's only neutral damage there because the dark typing. And then I've played this Golbat versus Bastiodon a few times lately, and 2 Shadow Balls from Golbat takes the Bastiodon about half of its HP. So it doesn't feel good, but it's a little more play than it feels like it should have sometimes. I mean, they're just going to smack down you all the way to death and come out with an energy lead, but you can usually get them to about half.
Depending on what you bring out, it might be more worthwhile to at least throw one Poison Fang out of that combo so that, the counter user can come in and just annihilate that thing. Or maybe actually that's what you don't want, because maybe you want to bring in your counter user to farm up as much energy as possible, and Poison Fang may reduce the amount of hits that you can get, amount of energy you can farm on the thing. It is obviously, I guess, back another way, if you don't have a counter user and you just want to get rid of this thing as quick as possible, then Poison Fang may be a way to play it, a different way to play it. Like if you've got Alolan Marowak, for example, and you have 2 shields because you're going to see 2 charge moves coming through in that matchup. Maybe Poison Fang's a little bit better, so you can kind of bone club it out of existence earlier. Although I think that's a little bit of there's going to be some nuance there, because you'd have to do bulk PV poke sims. Okay, what happens if I throw a Poison Fang, a Shadow Ball, and then I bring in a Alolan Marowak? How many bone clubs do we need to do this? What about 2 Shadow Balls? Is that any better? It's very. I guess that's part of the interesting part of this game, where it's not all just black and white. It's not all just rock, paper, scissors. But it looks like we are going to be hopping over into NCK, taking on Demi93, God93, Dre. We'll just go Dre for short to make it easy on ourselves, but we've got the teams on the right-hand side. Yes, obviously, it looks like we've got a potential Shadow Vigoroth on the team. That is obviously just a regular Vigoroth, but we're just waiting for Dre to pick his team, and then we'll hop right in. We didn't see what NCK brought in, so we'll just have to wait and see, I guess. So we're definitely expecting a Goon, right? There's got to be a Goon.
I would definitely expect the Goon. The only real hard answer for it on the other side was Vigoroth, that even then is not the hardest answer, because they both hit each other for pretty heavy, super effective damage. The Goon could potentially, we don't know what moves it'll have that has cross chop. That is also a super effective charge move, where the Vigoroth would only have neutral body slam. So I don't see a lot of real punishes for the Goon, and it's one of Nick's signature mons. If you've ever been on his channel, if we get some boosts today, we will certainly see some boosted Goons come out in the chat. NCK's signature emote. But we will see that just momentarily. Looks like Dre's received the request, is locking in their team as well. We should be getting into the countdown here in just a little bit. I was going to actually
the final countdown, which I'm not going to sing because we're not, no copyright strikes going around here. But I would promise. I promise you that.
I would look at how much that Golbat Poison Fang. Do you want to guess how much damage? Poison Fang is it has stab. It's a 35 energy charge move. How much damage does Poison Fang do to Bastiodon?
I don't think there's time to pick. We're going straight
okay.
in with the. We'll have to talk after. But Shadow Machamp versus Sableye, not exactly where Shadow Machamp wants to be. So definitely expecting a pretty quick swap. We do have that Obstagoon and Jellicent in the back. Yeah, does swap into that Obstagoon, catching the move. That's definitely a really nice play from Nick to start us off.
Yeah, and saving that energy on the Shadow Machamp will be very impactful later in the match, and getting this resisted damage from the Falcon. And there comes out the Obstagoon for Vigoroth.
Yeah, so it's the double super effective. Both of them are doing super effective damage to each other, but Obstagoon is going to be taking more because of its dark and normal typing. Going to shield up that body slam because he wants to get these cross drops off, unless they're going for a real crazy move with, trying to get a Night Slash boost and then, but don't do that. Don't do that. Just straight cross drop, throw one. I don't think he's going to get to another one in this matchup, unfortunately. Does get a shield from the Vigoroth though, which is nice. And then, which Pokemon do we see Machamp come out potentially?
Yeah, he comes back in with the Machamp, probably going to farm this down, shielding once. Doesn't look like that Vigoroth's going to get to another charge move here. And he knows that Sableye is out of energy. And he doesn't know what's in the back yet, but the Sableye really was kind of the best answer that Dre had to this Machamp. And now the Machamp has a significant energy lead. And
yeah, we are seeing the Sableye.
And there comes out the Rock Slide. This will do a lot of damage if the Sableye does not shield. We'll see if they want to use that shield here or save it for later. One shield comes out, but there's a second Rock Slide coming through.
Oh, dear. Oh, no.
Sableye is in trouble, chat.
Oh, Dre. Oh, Dre.
Ooh,